Okay, we dropped the Facebook stream, and we've got just a YouTube stream going at 720, 2.5 megahertz. And let's see. Daniel has figured out the audio sync problem. Yes. Problem is, you guys are all watching today, and I'm broadcasting tomorrow. No wonder the audio doesn't sync. Daniel, well done, well done, well done. Okay, let's see how we're doing here. Yeah, I checked the laptop. I did check the laptop last night to make sure that it was fully updated. And oh, this is interesting. I'm getting live stream from 20 minutes ago. Let's try that one again. Trying to log into chat here. Okay. Oh. Wow. Looks like that video's not bad. Video's not bad. I need to be a little better centered, but that's okay. Hey, we can change the camera. How about that? There we go. You can see a little bit of the pool over here. I haven't been in the pool yet. We got here last night. Had a wonderful dinner here at the resort dining room. Thai food is the bomb. It is indeed. Okay. So we have dropped the Facebook feed. If, let's see. I probably need to go to the Facebook page and direct everybody over here, because you're not going to be able to watch that feed. So let's take a second and do that. Oh, the video's ended. Yes, it has ended, and it's ended with a face. That is classic. All right, let's see if we can edit this post. No. Can we comment on this post? Not yet. Okay, well, we'll let that one catch up a little bit. And we were actually, I understand that technically we were supposed to start an hour and 7 minutes ago, but in my head we were supposed to start 7 minutes ago. But hey, what's new? We're always on time, right? Let's see. Let's go. Save video, copy link. No, what I want to do is be able to edit this post. Let's try again. Let's just find that post. 1 second. Appreciate your patience. I mean, I got up early for you guys. Not that bad. Let's see. Let's try that. Patience, patience, patience. All right, Giles wants more game. You get more game, you're going to get more birds. That's okay with me. We were going to go from 8 to 14 and see how that does. Giles says, I got here early for you too, 2 a.m. Well, Giles, you're the man then. Okay, let's see. Let's edit post. And we're going to go, has been moved InternationalBroadcasting.com due to bandwidth restrictions. Click watch live. Happy face emoji. And we'll save that. And it doesn't look like it changed. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, streaming Idiots from Thailand has been moved to EasternShoreBroadcasting.com due to bandwidth restrictions. Click watch live. Happy face emoji. Alright, that's going to work. Now let's go back to this show here. Alright, that's going to work. Now let's go back to... Alright. Alright, I think we're in good shape here. We're just going to mute the audio on that. And we'll have it so we've got the ability to see the video, see the chat. And I think we're here. Do you want to know where here is? This is where here is. Hold on for a second. We're going to go on a little ride. Hold on. Well, I could be at any beach, I guess, in the world, but it's really pretty here. All right, let's see. What do we got? All right, so we're actually going to do a show. We're a little late in getting started. For some of you, we're an hour and 12 minutes late. For me, we're just 12 minutes late. The virtual sets are amazing, aren't they, Mark? They are indeed. Yeah, it's almost like it was just reality. And it's hard to find a soundtrack of birds chirping and lizards croaking, because that's what that roar sound you hear is periodically. So that's, yeah, right. Okay, let's see, where are we? So let's do a show. Also do want to say that all the way from Alabama, from the United States, our vMix guy and my X-Keys self, that's me, of course, and that's vMix guy. They have come all the way to Bangkok and now here to an island off the coast that I cannot pronounce. They've been with me the whole trip. So, let's see. I did some shortcuts on this borrowed computer that are supposed to run the pre-show and start the record, and then they're supposed to close the show and stop the record, and then one of them is supposed to take off the lower third. Hey, that worked. Will it put it back on? Yes, it does. Okay. And then another one is supposed to cut to this camera. So let's put something else up on the screen and see if that little, yeah, we're just gonna, we're not really testing, just wanted to make sure. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so if all else fails, it'll go back to that cam. Perfect. And that's the thing with, you know, all the wonderful shortcuts and transitions and what else would we call them? Triggers. They all work beautifully, but if they're on a different system, and see, I wasn't planning anyway. You don't need to hear all that. Okay. So, you thought that was my tummy rumbling. Well, I haven't had breakfast yet, but it's It's pretty amazing. Okay, so let me get my show notes here. Okay, I think we got them. No, they're not any real notes. It was just me kind of collecting my thoughts a little bit. All right, so we've got 11 folks watching that are in chat. And then, oh, let's pull up the YouTube page so we can, well, one more detail. Sorry about that. I'm trying to recreate as much as I can my normal setup when I'm back in the studio so that I can feel comfortable. Of course, generally I've got 2 laptops out and then a tab. So let's go to Creator Studio. Let's go to live streaming. And let's refresh that page. Let's refresh that page. And let's pause that one so we don't use a bunch of bandwidth that we don't have. Okay, there we go. That's what I needed to see. It's Chris. It's Rudy sounding like a bird. All right. Got it. There we go. Now we're in the zone. Now we are in the zone. In the zone. Okay. All right, you ready for a live show? Let's do a live show. Now, see, I can't hear. Normally, I have my earbuds in. Not that I want to hear myself, but that I want to be able to hear the pump-up music at the very beginning. You need a windscreen on this mic. Jean, do not start with me. Number one, there's no wind here. Number two, we've had to pump up the audio because I can do this, but that's just not my style. So I'll move a little bit closer. How about that? There we go. All right. So let's give this a whirl. It's 3 a.m. in Sweden. Wow. Andres, thank you. All right. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey, it's Thomas Sinclair coming to you live on Streaming Idiots, and I am so glad, so happy to be here. I'm actually, yes, that's right, I am live streaming from Thailand, from a beautiful island that I can't spell or pronounce, down in the south part of Thailand. This is a live stream using Wi-Fi. You should never use Wi-Fi for a live stream. I'm using a borrowed laptop. You should never use a borrowed laptop for a live stream. I was going to live stream on my regular laptop, but my son had his i7 laptop, and I said, golly, I sure would like the extra horsepower of the i7 so I can do all these fancy things. Not a good idea. So I did about 20 minutes of testing last night, and then about 40 minutes of setup here this morning. I'm actually in the restaurant at the small resort, which is really, really beautiful. And thought we would use this show as an opportunity to talk a little bit about the challenges of going on the road doing a live stream. And I know Rich knows a lot about that because every live stream he does is on the road. But his kit is designed and intended to, yeah, we might need a windscreen on that one. We are getting a beautiful breeze for a change. His kit is designed and intended for travel. This kit was not designed and intended for travel. Kit was thrown into a knapsack at the last minute, but really is a good example of what you can do if you have to. Rich says it's pronounced Thailand. Don't even. Scott Pienta's here, so we can really start now. Should we run the music? No, I'm just teasing. this live stream is a good example of what you can do if you have to. Now, I am set up. Oh, here's the other thing. Don't forget, if you're using a laptop, remember that if the laptop runs on battery, most laptops will cut the CPU back 50, maybe even to 25% in order to conserve electricity, in order to conserve battery life. So I had a beautiful spot picked out down there at the beach bar, and I plugged in, and no power. And of course, here in Thailand, the outlets are a little different, but they should work. It's an adapter that will fit. Sorry, I've got a little friend, and it's actually 220 or 240 volts here, but everything that I have runs through is battery operated, so it converts it down just fine. Anyway, there was no power down there, so I had to take everything apart and plug all the way back up here into the restaurant area so that I could get power. And that was pretty critical need. So power, number one, is number one on the list, especially if you're laptop oriented. Don't count on that battery to be able to produce a high quality production. Now, yes, I could have gone back to, maybe a vMix 360 P production and streamed at 240 or something like that, so that I could have worked within the confines of what the laptop was allowing me. But I didn't want to do that. I needed power. So right now I've got two laptops here, both of them plugged in. One of them is just monitoring the chat, and the other one is, of course, doing the live stream. so there. By the way, if you're watching us on EasternShoreBroadcasting.com, if you're watching us live on YouTube, that's what I meant to say. If you're watching us live on YouTube, please feel free to come over to EasternShoreBroadcasting.com. I don't have my URL up there today, but that's where it would sit. And click the Watch Live tab, and you can get in on the chat. We've got just over a dozen folks in chat right now, so come on, join us in the chat room, EasternShoreBroadcasting.com. Click the Watch Live tab. It's where the cool kids hang out. What else shall we say about that? So power is really critical if you're running on a laptop. If you have a power inverter and you're plugged into, here in the U.S. it would be a 12 volt, maybe a what do they call those batteries that are intended for low, deep cycle battery. That's what it is, a deep cycle battery. You've got a power inverter, you're plugged into a deep cycle battery, you're good to go. It's like you're being plugged into shore power. But shore power is just really hugely important. Second most important, once you get past that, of course, is internet. And internet is, of course, what was it the other day? I was reading one of those customer service bulletins. It was just, the crazy things customers say. And it was a guy complaining complaining to his website developer that his website didn't work if there wasn't any internet. So you got to have internet. You've got to have internet. You want to test your internet. It's preferred that you don't use Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi is so finicky. Here at this resort, we're actually at the Sandy Bay Resort. You might want to Google that and see some of the beautiful pictures, and they're spot on. The pictures do it justice. But here at Sandy Bay, they have, I think, about 12 different access points. And so we've got, this device is on one access point, the laptop checking, the chat is on another access point, and then the PC doing the live stream is on a third access point. And what we found was at some access points, when we did speed tests, some of them had better speeds than others. But what we also noticed on all of them was, as we watched the speed test, the number went up to 12 megabits per second, and then it crept down as the errors crept in, and stabilized at about 8, and then it would dip to 6, and then it would come back up to 10, and then it would dip, and so it was constantly fluctuating. So a single speed test, it's like blood pressure. The doctor does a blood pressure test and says, oh, your blood pressure's fine. Well, maybe it is fine. Maybe it's not. Maybe in 10 minutes it's going to be through the roof because your kid tells you he wrecked your car. You just never know. But the importance, do you hear that wind in the microphone? It's a beautiful breeze here. And you know what we're going to use? We did bring a wind screen. It's actually not this is not a mouse pad. This is not a mouse pad. It is a wind screen. And so we're going to put it up around the mic. I don't know if that helps or not. Anyway, because we've got the gain cranked way up. If you're just joining us, yeah, we've had some audio challenges to go. Well, let's go back. We'll go back to the thread here. So we're talking about internet. So we have to sort of flop around from access point to access point to find the one that had the best connection, and number two, that was the most stable. So that was a real challenge. And of course, you know, stable. What is stability? Well, stability is only wind noise wasn't that bad so far. Thank you, Giles. That's what I needed to know. Stability is in the eye of the beholder. Stability is a historical look back into the past. It's not an accurate guarantee for the future. So what may be a historically good Wi-Fi connection 1 minute may be horribly intermittent the next. So that's the danger of Wi-Fi. Now, can Ethernet cable be the same way to a router? Yes, of course it can. It's only as good as the internet connection here. You know, we're on an island here, so I don't know how we're getting internet. I mean, the latency between me and you, let me count it here: 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007, 1008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 15, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. I'm sorry about this. 2027, 2028, 2029, 2030. So it's about 30 seconds. Because I'm watching on the laptop here. I mean on the tablet. Giles says he's getting 6.8 seconds latency there. So obviously here in the islands, I'm not getting as good a connection as you are. But 6.8 seconds latency from the country of Thailand, from an island off the coast of Thailand to the UK is pretty amazing. Andres says he's got 7.3. That's outstanding. Outstanding. Anyway, okay, so we've got speed of laptop affected by the ability to plug into shore power. We've got, you know, internet access, which we've all had conversations about Wi-Fi and the preferred use. You know what? I wonder if there was a router around here. I didn't even check to see if there was a router. I only brought a 6-foot Ethernet cable. So anyway, getting off track. So and we're talking, if you're just joining us, would love to have you come join us in the chat at easternshorebroadcasting.com. Click the Watch Live tab, and you can watch and chat at the same time. The third challenge that you may face in this kind of remote situation is, in my case, using equipment that wasn't my normal equipment. I don't normally broadcast on the road. If you see the camera shaking a little bit, it's because there's a canine over here that's in the restaurant with me that decided it was time to get a good scratch going on, and it's shaking the whole deck. I'm using borrowed equipment. I'm using my son's Asus i7 laptop, which I love and he loves, and he and I counseled together on which one to get to replace his failing tablet. But it's not one that's familiar with me, so I had to load vMix onto it. I had to load my graphics, like the lower third right here. I had to put my theme music on there. Don't you just love that? Anyway, so it's in some ways it's a comfortable environment because it's vMix, but in other ways it's an unfamiliar environment because it's not my studio. I don't have my X keys here with all my normal shortcuts and my normal inputs that would normally be here, that would have their normal triggers associated with it. I had to configure a little bit of that last night, which was fun, but it wasn't like, you know, just pow, here we go. The other thing, in addition to using borrowed equipment, i.e. the laptop, I'm also using equipment that I don't use very often. For example, the microphone. It's the Audio-Technica ATR 2100 USB. So it's coming in USB. One of the things notable about this mic is that it has some latency. I guess that's the best way to say. But that wasn't the problem for me today. It was running everything on this laptop, which was unfamiliar, using the the Logitech C920 webcam, which is what I'm using just for video, not using the audio for it at all. And that webcam has more latency than the microphone, so that I had to add about, I think it was about 500 milliseconds of delay to the mic audio to match up. Now, I know it's not perfect, but you should have seen it before we started. It was abysmal. Rich says you should do some more remote streams. Well, I'll tell you what, Rich, if you will sponsor me, it doesn't even have to be Thailand. It could just be a Caribbean tour. That would be okay. Anyway, so I'm using a microphone that I'm not familiar with. I'm using a camera, the Logitech C920, that I haven't used in, I mean, not regularly as my main cam. I haven't used in, I'd say, 2, maybe 3 years. You say, why don't you use the webcam built into the laptop? Well, I could do that, and it would be even more unfamiliar. Frankly, I don't know. I would have to experiment and see whether it would be as CPU intensive as the Logitech is. You know, the Logitech C920, depending on your PC, of course, but it's good for about 10% CPU hit, just to do the processing. Right now, vMix is running at 30 to 40%. The PC is running at 70 to 80%, which is a little on the high side, but we are recording, and we're streaming one stream to YouTube at 720p. I think it's 2.5. I think I tried to keep the 2.5. Yes, 720p, 2.5. So we've got power to the laptop, which is critical to have short power. We've got internet, which we're dealing with Wi-Fi, but we have multiple access points, so we can sort of spread the load. It may be the same internet connection. It probably is. Hadn't thought about that till just now. Anyway, we've got borrowed equipment, that is a borrowed laptop. We've got a camera that we haven't used in a long time and had to set up on borrowed equipment. We have a microphone that we don't regularly use, but we've set up on the laptop, so we had to finagle all that together. I didn't do any of the adjustments on that until I got in place here today. And then we have the ability to stream. You say, okay, well, I started out streaming to Facebook at 720p 1.5 and YouTube 1080p 4.5, and that was way too much. I was bumping a lot of yellows. You know, when the stream button in vMix, which is normally red, which is generally a bad sign in the real world, like a red light, flashing red light. In vMix, that's a good sign. Red is good. And orange or yellow is bad. It's not good. It means you're having a problem. And black, of course, means you're done. So I was having a lot of flickering of the streaming button from red to yellow, which told me that I was probably buffering on my end because I was trying to push too much data through too small a pipe, or maybe a pipe that was expanding and contracting as the internet does, and certainly as individual access points do. And so I backed down on my YouTube connection from 1080p 4.5 to 720p 2.5, and also continued the Facebook connection at 1.5, the 720p at 1.5, and that was flickering. And again, this is going back to unfamiliar PC. Part of it was probably access point, but part of it also was the PC. There it is right now. Just hit 100%. So there was some inherent natural problem when your PC encoder hits 100%. Yeah, now it's back down to 70, so something popped it up there for just a second. Some people would say, well, that's the case for a downstream encoder, and it might well be. It also might be a situation where, since I have a second laptop here, I would just simply use Wi-Fi. I mean, not Wi-Fi. I would use NDI and switch the feed to a second laptop and let it stream and record. We could do that as a way to get around limitations. NDI is a wonderful tool in your tool belt that has so doggone many purposes. And for me, it's almost my own little sort of video hub where I can distribute video wherever I want it to go, and then from there I can distribute it from wherever I want it to go. I'm sure if they haven't already, they're going to be coming up with some sort of video hub interface so that you can see all your streams and redirect them as needed. In fact, they have. It's called vMix. Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. Prashana is in India, and he is tearing it up. He is on the Nepal national baseball team, and they are just plowing through the league. Congratulations and well done. Thank you, Cliff. I think it's awesome too. It's pretty amazing that we can even do this. So again, if you're watching us on YouTube directly, come on over to easternshorebroadcasting.com, click the Watch Live tab, and you can get in on the chat. That's the real benefit there. And of course, you can also sign up for our newsletter right there on the right-hand side. And if you haven't done that, you want to do that. And I'll also give a shout-out for our Streaming Idiots Facebook group, which, of course, we would stream to this morning, but we tried to, and we just can't. Amnon is just now coming in because he just finished doing the Vietnam show, but we're glad to have you, Amnon. Amnon is he the granddaddy or the great-granddaddy of live streaming? But we're glad to have him. Let's see. Let's give a shout-out, too, to Andres, Chris, Rich, Giles, Amnon, Daniel, Prashana, Kyle. Don't have a contest for Kyle. Jean, Tim, Scott, Cliff, Kenny, and Mark that are showing up in chat. Glad to have you there. Amnon says, but it only buffers for me. Well, I'm sorry. It's probably your internet connection. No, it's probably not your internet connection. Probably my internet connection. But we're all in the red here, and CPU is down into the 70s. Let's see, what other challenges did we face today? Sneaking out of the cottage without waking everybody else, and with tons of equipment. That was fun. Coming up tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern time, and you can tell I had to pause for just a second to make sure I had that right. Coming up tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern time, is the vMix Fun Time live show, where they're going to be pulling the hood off and letting you see the new turbocharger. Not really a turbocharger, but see all the new features that are in vMix 21, so you won't want to miss that. And we might say that, yeah, Giles, if I had an NVIDIA GPU, I would do that, but I don't have an NVIDIA GPU. I'm dealing with the Windows, the Intel GPU. Yeah, again, borrowed equipment. You never know. Jean says, up here in Canada, it's coming in smoothly, no buffering, and a perfect 720 picture. Thank you, Jean. Very good. Okay. Little jabs back and forth there. Scott's not going to let Kyle win anything. I love it. But the vMix Fun Time live show is going to pull the wrapper off vMix and let you see all the neat new features. Now, of course, you probably already saw some of the rogue video, Scott Pianta, that was on Facebook from NAB. But what better way to really see what things will do is to have Martin and Tim introduce them to you in good depth, and to stress some of the importance. And you don't want to miss that show. That's going to be Thursday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, and you'll have to do your time zone from there, because you know I'm time zone challenged. Daniel's like, tomorrow, would that be Thursday, as in tomorrow for us, or Friday, as in tomorrow for you? Don't even start. I just know the vMix guys said it was going to be Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time at vmix.com. Click the Watch Live tab. I think there's a Watch Live tab, or it may just be a Live tab. Anyway, yeah, it'll be a ton of fun, and I hope to join you there. Giles says, another 1 a.m. show. At least I'm well practiced for that. That's good. All right, Jean, we'll see you. Thanks for tuning in. Jean is one of my good custom PC clients. Oh, yeah, that reminds me. This whole show, brought to you from Thailand, is a giant infomercial from my company, Eastern Shore Broadcasting. Mostly info, but a little bit of commercial. And let's talk about the commercial. Did you know that you can buy vMix from me and get personal support from me for the same price as you can get it from vmix.com? That's right, you can. So don't miss your opportunity when it's time to buy vMix or buy a vMix upgrade. Go to your friendly neighborhood reseller. That's me, Tom Sinclair, at Eastern Shore Broadcasting. And get vMix for the very same price that you can get it from vmix.com. And the vMix guys love it too. I guess they love it. Well, they love it because it means that when people have a question, they don't bug them, they bug me. But that's okay for the most part, except when I'm in Thailand. It's a good thing. Although, I will tell you, tech support, somebody was sending me an email, said, look, man, I'm in desperation. I've got a big thing coming up. I need your help. So we arranged for a call. It was going to be a TeamViewer call, but I couldn't get enough internet in one of the 2 Bangkok airports. And we got some little folks showing up here this morning. I couldn't get enough internet in one of the 2 Bangkok airports, but I did call him at what was 11 o'clock in the evening here, so it would have been 10 o'clock in Dothan, Alabama, there to do some tech support. So that's the kind of stuff that we do for our customers. We want to make sure that you can do what you need to do when you need to do it. So that's it for the commercial. Tim says, if you want to know when it's on for you, ... Jerome's here. Hey, Jerome. Oh, I see. It was the previous link that Tim put in there. There you go. Tim says, hey, at least we'll be on time. Hey, I was on time. I just wasn't I just didn't tell you the right time. So there. Sorry about that. You know, it's weird when your world gets turned upside down. Actually, it's not the world. Well, it is. I'm on the other side of the world. But it also was exactly, for me, an exact 12-hour time difference between Central Time and time here in Thailand. So that's why I got my times off, because I was giving you the 8 p.m. in Alabama time zone. Anyway, so coming up tomorrow night, that's going to be Thursday night if you're in the States, Friday morning if you're in Thailand or Australia. You'll want to catch the vMix Fun Time live show again, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And there's a link in chat to tell you, it's at timeanddate.com, to tell you what time it would be in your place. Tim has got the world covered. Yes, indeed, he does, Kenny. Let's see what else. Anybody else we want to welcome? Tommy Willis is here. Welcome, Tommy. Glad to have you. And Jerome, of course, is here. Glad to have you, too. The distraction for me right now is, of course, it's, what time is it here? It is, no, it's not 8:43. It's probably 8:43 a.m. Yeah, that would be what it is. 8:43 a.m. And the challenge here is, as this resort world awakens, lots of people jogging by on the beach. It's a little bit of a distraction, but, you know, I will hang in there and do my best. Coming up next week on Streaming Idiots is, we're not really sure, because we're not sure where we're going to be and what we're going to do. But we'll keep you in touch, and we'll make sure that we get our time zones correct. But after next week's show, we'll be back in the studio in Alabama and doing regular shows. We've got a great lineup of guests. Mostly a lot of folks that we met at NAB, and some of them represent product lines that we're going to be taking on. So we want to introduce those products officially at on the Streaming Idiots show. Let's see what else. I will give a shout out to Tim and Martin for inviting me to join them again at the NAB vMix booth. It was a lot of fun to be out there and see so many of you and talk about the world's best live video production, streaming, recording, jackknife, Swiss Army knife, jack of all trades, streaming software stuff, package suite, whatever you want to call it. It's amazing, and I'm so pleased and honored to represent as a reseller the vMix guys, as I call them. Also pleased, while we're kind of back to the commercial part, to represent PTZ Optics and the PTZ Optics camera line. Yes, you can buy a PTZ Optics camera from me for the same price that you can get it on Amazon or B&H Photo, and get free shipping, and get, that's right, personalized support. You can also get X keys the same way. Isn't that amazing? It is. It is. You can get X keys the same way. And of course, we also represent Magewell. In fact, you can get Magewell the same way. Same price from us as from B&H or from Amazon. A little bit of thunder here, but it's just somebody walking through the lobby. So check out our website, our horrible, awful website at easternshorebroadcasting.com. We're working on that, but we haven't finished the work yet, so we can't release it until it's totally done, but we're getting there. easternshorebroadcasting.com. It was going to be, it'll be worth the wait. But in the meantime, don't wait. Come on. Oh, what is that? Oh, okay. There are a bunch of people out there snorkeling, and they're calling my name. So, goodness gracious. Where was I? Sorry about that. I saw things coming up out of the water, and I thought, I'm in Scotland. It's Loch Ness. Anyway, Nessie. What else were we saying? We were talking about vMix. We're talking about PTZ Optics. We're going to add the Panimation software. We're really thrilled about that. We're adding the Uon card line. We're really thrilled about that. What else? We're adding Bird Dog after having Eamon and Dan from Bird Dog show up. Oh, that was the other thing it was. Yeah, but after having them show up at the Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB, it really cemented in my mind they're going to come out and support me. I've got to go support them. So we'll be adding Bird Dog to the mix. And yes, you can get Bird Dog from us at the same price you can get it at B&H or Amazon. So why not? And then, of course, we do PCs, streaming PCs, our own line called Live Streaming Gear that you can get. Well, actually, we're the only place you can get them. So, yeah, but you'll get a PC that I had somebody call me, last week that had a PC built for them by a local PC builder, and they had the specs mostly right. But the difference between right and wrong is, there's no such thing as mostly right. It wasn't right. And as a result, they weren't getting the performance that they needed. And had they gotten that from us, they wouldn't have been making frantic phone calls trying to get things to work. And frankly, blaming it on vMix when really it wasn't a vMix problem. It was a hardware issue. But that's just kind of my don't buy it from them story, buy it from me story, because you'll get it in a box and it'll be ready to go. Anyway, that's that story. So we are going to move into post-show now. So if you've got questions about what's going on here, or how we did the stream today, or about vMix 21, or about NAB, then let's have them. And we'll be right back. And we'll see you tomorrow night at the vMix Fun Time live show at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's Thursday night at vmix.com. Click the live tab. See you later. Yay! Okay, that was great. We are now in post-show. Post-show. So you got to wonder, you know, Tom, you're in this giant restaurant. Um, what are you doing there? Well, everybody else slept in. The whole world slept in. It's really quiet here. If you missed it earlier, I'll give you a quick video tour of the place and show you the setup that I'm working with here. You can see we've got the vMix here on this laptop. We're watching chat on this laptop. We're monitoring, if it'll come back up. We were monitoring the live stream there a few minutes ago. And then, of course, here's the mic. Camera you can't see. And then, let's see if we can get it to adjust a little bit. Yeah, there we go. That's the beach. And this is the restaurant where we ate. And probably will eat a lot. The food has been really good. Of course, if you know about Thai food, you know Thai food is really the bomb. Next to the pool there. And then a nice little sun deck looking out on the Gulf of Thailand. Wishing you were here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's see if we can't get this cam back up. There we go. There we go. All right, food is good. How long am I here for? We just got here to the Sandy Bay Resort last night. We will be here for 3 or 4 more days, and then we're going to Krabi, which is another kind of beach resort area on the other side of the Thailand peninsula. So that will be the whatever ocean is on that side. My geography is horrible. And we'll be there for 4 or 5 days. And so we'll be back in the States the weekend of May 5th. Thanks, Rich. Yeah, well, Daniel, it's one of those things. It's if I were being paid by a sponsor to do this, this would be a disaster. But since I'm kind of my own sponsor, I let myself off the hook and said, I got to try it. I mean, I had numerous volunteers. Most notable among all of them was Giles to do the show. But I really wanted the challenge of doing a show from a remote location. And, you know, as you have questions about it, I can tell you what not to do. I mean, that's the whole idea of this show. This is what you don't do. Don't come do a show. Don't do a show with borrowed equipment and equipment that you don't normally use in a place that you're not familiar with, that you haven't checked out the Wi-Fi on. I mean, it's a classic streaming idiot type thing, and it worked. But it worked because of 2 things. It worked because vMix is amazing, and it worked because I know my equipment. Other than this borrowed laptop, I know my equipment well enough to be able to configure and reconfigure and find a way to make everything work together. For example, even though this is not my laptop, I knew that if I didn't have shore power, because the shore power is coming up from an electrical outlet up there on the pole, if I didn't have shore power for this thing, the laptop would only run at about 25% CPU, which is not going to be enough to live stream much more than a 240 feed, maybe 360. Right now, I'm not recording. I'm streaming 720 2.5 to YouTube, and the laptop is using total CPU in the 60s. When I was doing the recording a few minutes ago, total CPU was in the 70s and occasionally bumped up above 100. I'm using a hardware encoder. Let's see, that's on recording. Am I using a hardware encoder for streaming? Well, it doesn't show up, but it's just the Intel, you know, it's the graphics processing that's built into the chip. There's not a separate graphics card in this particular PC. Road Warrior streaming. That's right, Kyle. That's exactly right. It's you know, having a kit and knowing your kit well enough to make adjustments as you need to. And you know, Rich is the real road warrior on that. Rick says it must be very hot. Rick, we were at the bridge over the River Kwai 2 days ago, and it was 104. And it wasn't like 104 in Las Vegas, where it's a dry heat. It's 104 in Thailand, where it's a humid heat. And I think, you know, I didn't even look at the heat index. I don't pay attention to that. It's just the weather people trying to scare you to watch the weather. No offense, Sam. Mark says, do what Tommy does. Don't do what Tommy does. Mark, you'll have to help me on that one later. Daniel says, video and audio is great here. No buffering, clear video and audio. You did a great job. Well, thank you. You're doing a great job. Thank you, Jerome. And it's always nice to get kudos. And kudos are fun, but constructive criticism or helpful suggestions are better. So if you're working with somebody, you know, definitely give them an attaboy and let them know that they're doing a good job. And if you're mentoring somebody, here's the approach I try to use. It's what I call the sandwich. That is, I'm going to say something good about what they did. I'm going to say something critical, that is constructive criticism, a suggestion how to improve, and then I'm going to sandwich it with another good thing that they did. So they get a good thing, a little bit of criticism, and another good thing. Start out with the good, end with the good, and hopefully, especially if, you know, if they're thin-skinned or a little sensitive, they'll come away with a good feeling, and not that you're just being all critical on them all the time. So sandwich approach for mentoring always does well. Mark says, Tom, do you have a second drive in the laptop for recording or just a single drive for everything? Well, I don't know. It's a borrowed laptop. I don't even know what the hard drive is. Holy cow, it could be a 5400 RPM hard drive. Let's see. Let's go to device manager. No, disk management. Let's see what we've got there. Disk management and see. We've got a terabyte drive that's divided up into a C drive and a D drive. Which is really, really free. And let's go into Device Manager and see if we can see what kind of drive it is. Because it'll tell us the model, it won't always tell us. Yeah, it's a ST1000L M024HN M101MBB. So I would be guessing that's a hard drive. I'll look at it later, see if it's 54 or 72. But that's a good question. Good question. Kenny says, Tom, I just want to say you made that one mistake very, very well. Good job. Kenny trying the sandwich approach. Andres, thanks for the show. I got to go back to bed. Absolutely. Definitely go back to bed. It's 4 a.m. there. It's about 9 a.m. here, and I may go back to bed. We'll see. Joseph said, hey, Joseph, glad to have you. Can you choose on vMix which drive to save recordings to? Absolutely. Yeah, you can save it to whatever drive you want. Back home in my studio, I've got a solid-state drive as my main drive, which has my operating system and all my software, including vMix, on it. And by that I also mean, you know, any graphics that I need to use in vMix, any videos that I use in the course of the program, all that started on that solid-state drive. And then I have a terabyte hard drive, a 7200 RPM hard drive that is my D drive. And I tell vMix, hey, save the recording on the D drive. And of course vMix does instant replay, and when you do instant replay with vMix, you'll have an extra drive, a solid state drive, recommended a terabyte or better, to use as kind of your scratch drive for the recording. So, and then of course vMix can do 4-camera ISO recording, which means that you would need a solid-state drive to do the ISO recording there. So vMix can use, and you can actually split those 4 cameras up onto 4 different drives if you wanted to. So vMix is capable of using almost any configuration of your PC. But if you're thinking about having a PC built for you, let me know, and I'd be happy to counsel with you on that. We have a package where we teach you to build your own and provide tech support, or we can build it for you either way. Good question, Joseph. Mark says, awesome, thanks, Tom. Well, thank you, Mark. All right, Giles says, 3 a.m. here. Great stuff, Tom. Great to be doing live on location. Well, Giles, if it's 3 a.m., you may as well just stay up now, dude. When we got here, quick Thai story. We left at 9 a.m. Central Time. Went to Atlanta, left Atlanta at noon Eastern Time, flew to South Korea 14 hours, so that would make it 2 o'clock in the afternoon. No, excuse me. Would make it 2 o'clock in the morning, our body time. We got to Seoul, Korea, and it was, 9 o'clock in the morning or noon or something like that there. No, yeah, it was about 2. It was, anyway. So we ended up leaving Korea right at sunset, which, of course, for us was about, at that point, about 5 o'clock in the morning, maybe 6 o'clock in the morning. And then we flew 4 or 5 hours to Bangkok, got in there at midnight Bangkok time, which was noon for us a day and a half later. So we were, I think, all told, by the time we got back to, from the time we got up in the morning until the time we went to bed, and a bed was about 33 hours. It was really pretty amazing. And it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. I don't know why the vMix guy, who is no longer with us, let's see, he's gone to bed or back to work, why they complain so much. It's probably because they don't get to sleep when they arrive. I mean, it was midnight when we got there. We ended up, of course, you got keyed up, went to bed at 2 a.m. local time, which was 2 in the afternoon body time. But our bodies were so messed up at that point from staying up so late, we were just glad to get in bed. And we've been pretty well going on a regular schedule ever since. It's going to be interesting to see how that works as we go back to, go back in time 12 hours. Although at 12 hours, it doesn't matter whether it's back in time or forward in time. So there you go. Joseph says, thanks for that. Good to know. Okay. Mark says, Tom, thanks for the show this week. I know it must have been stressful, fun to get it going. Not stressful at all, but very fun. Thanks, Mark. Kyle says, any recommendations on a Thunderbolt SSD? None. I have no experience with it, Kyle. I'd hate to offer a recommendation on something that I will not offer a recommendation on something that I don't have any personal experience on. I will offer you an opinion on something I don't have any experience on. And I'm not a big fan of remote drives at any level. Too easy for a cord to come knocked loose. The USB 3 drives are notoriously finicky. I've got several clients that have tried to use those against my recommendation, and I've had troubles with them. Whether Thunderbolt would be better, I don't know. I guess if you're trying to get extra capacity or some sort of portability, if it's portability you're looking for, I would suggest, and it's a full-size PC or even a rack mount. Take a look at one of those drive docks that allows you to insert a 2.5-inch drive, whether it's an SSD or an HDD. That would be a good way to make something like that portable. Tim says, vMix says, well, we aren't on holiday. You also aren't showing up in the side. So you were lurking, and I was saying bad things about you, and you got to hear it. Oh, darn. Kyle says, wait until the trip back. I think so too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Apparently, you want to see VMix 21. I think that's a threat. Like, you will never see VMix 21 again. You talk bad about us. Actually, my son Jordan is planning well, he's thinking about relocating to Australia. He's here in Thailand now, which is why we came here. He's been here for about 6 months teaching English up the country, and in kind of a rural area. And so we bribed him to come take care of us by bringing him here. But he visited Melbourne a couple of weeks ago and met up with Eamon Drew from Bird Dog TV, and they had a big old time. And I think he really likes the whole Australia concept. Very, very laid back, and would like to come over and work there for a little bit. And actually, Tim, he was looking at the Gold Coast because he said, that's this kind of spot where you can go to the beach all year round. You can play by the water. He's a musician, so he'd hope to pick up some gigs and see what other trouble he can get into. So we'll see. We'll see. Kyle says, trying to set up Drive for replay on a laptop. Okay. Yeah, Kyle, I would say here's what I would do if I were in your situation. Number one, I would buy something off of Amazon that I could return in 30 days. So if it's a laptop with a Thunderbolt port, I might try that. If I already had a laptop with a Thunderbolt port, I might get a Thunderbolt chassis, one of those enclosures, and pop an SSD in it and see. I bet it would work. I know that external storage is a big reason to use a Thunderbolt. I just don't have any personal experience with it to say, hey, definitely I know it works. This is the brands I've worked with, that kind of thing. Tim says, you're on the other monitor as I'm preparing the show for tomorrow. You're preparing a day ahead of time? What's with that? Yeah, really. I get it. Yes. Joseph says, and I wonder where he's from, Melbourne is the world's most livable city for 6 years in a row. Hello, Queensland is full of shark and croc food. Tourists. Well, maybe. But hey, it's not me. It's not me. And, of course, if I ever visit Australia, it will be to Queensland, but probably also Melbourne. Again, it'll have to be one of those mega trips that takes, months and months and months, maybe years to plan. Unlike my broadcasts. Let's see, anybody else step back into the chat? Cliff is here. Welcome, Cliff. Well, guys, I think I'm going to call it a day here. And we had a little rain here last night, which apparently we're not in the rainy season, so it was very welcomed. So I'm going to see about getting some breakfast and going back and rousing all the people in my hacienda and getting them up and moving. I mean, we got a lot of work to do today. We got the beach right there. We got the water right there. We got the restaurant right here. There's a bar there where we can get sodas and water and stuff. What can I say? Kyle said there's a nice little town in the interior named Gunderman. I'll keep an eye out for it. And Cliff says, what's for breakfast? Well, it's interesting. We stayed in a little bed and breakfast 3 nights ago. And they, as we checked in, they asked us what we wanted for breakfast the next morning. Oh, here's the thing about Thai food. Goodness gracious. Last night, 3 of us ate 3 mammoth Thai dishes and had, well, we didn't have alcohol, we just had sodas. and I think the total bill was 470 baht, which was about 30 baht to the dollar. So was that about $16 for three of us? Amazing. And if you've seen my Facebook page, some of the places that we've eaten have been very rustic, but the food's been really great. Anyway, the bed and breakfast from a couple of nights ago, we had fried eggs and toast and jam and baked beans. Apparently that's a European thing, or anyway, it's not an American thing. And hash browns. Anyway, it was really good. Kyle's sending me the link to there's a nice town in Australia, yeah, called Gunderman, not here in Thailand. Jerome says, Tom, do you think a small church should start with a laptop or a PC to stream? Obviously, Jerome, there's a budget question involved there, but there's also a space question. You know, do you have enough space? Do you want to, use borrowed equipment? For example, our church has been borrowing my Asus ROG laptop for going on, coming up this summer will be 2 years. And I just take it home with me, so it doesn't have to have a permanent place. There's wiring that is in place. There's I was going to say RS-232, but there's Ethernet that actually doesn't go to the router. The Ethernet goes to the PTZ optics cam, and we do PoE, so we power the camera, we take data from the camera, and we control the camera over Ethernet. And then we have an analog output on the soundboard that goes to the mic jack on the laptop. And then we pick up Wi-Fi. Actually, the Wi-Fi there is actually better than the hardwire connection. So in that situation, if it's equipment that's going to be borrowed, I think a laptop. On the other hand, if it's something that's going to live there permanently, a laptop's kind of portable, so it's easy to kind of sprout legs and walk away. I might go for a desktop PC that I can kind of screw in or mount somewhere, and then of course monitor and keyboard. And then in a perfect world situation, I think I would have a rack mount system that could be mounted, very permanently, and be used like that. But if you want to have a discussion about it, give me a call when I get back, or shoot me an email. I'm happy to. Cliff says, is that a traditional Thai breakfast? Actually, Cliff, I don't think Thais have a traditional breakfast. I think they just eat what they eat. I've been pumping my son Jordan about, kind of what's going on here. What are the deal? What are the rules? And breakfast is just not a thing. Here I am at 9:15 in a big restaurant at a good-sized resort, and nobody has come in to order breakfast. Kenny says, great show, Tom. Enjoy your holiday. Looking forward to VMix show in less than 24 hours. That's right. It's at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on Thursday night. And it's already Thursday here. So that means it'll be, is it already Thursday here? Yes, Thursday morning. So it'll be Friday morning here when the VMix Fun Time show. So the VMix guys, they're working on it now, but it's really a day ahead, I think. All right, Tim says, lunchtime here. See you tomorrow. VMix.com/live. There you go. All right, very good. So Tim's going to go grab some lunch. Apparently he is a couple of hours ahead of me. That would be maybe 3 hours, I think. So it would be 12:15 there. Tim, say hi to Martin for me. Great show, says Giles. Thanks, Tom. Enjoy your vacation. Yeah, Giles, you need to go to bed, dude, for sure. Let's check one other thing here, because I can rattle on all day and enjoy it. So there. So what else do you want to know about Thailand, or about live streaming, or about vMix, or do you want to know when the vMix Fun Time live show is? It's next. No, it's not next. it's it's Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central, 8 a.m. 8 a.m. Thai time. No, if it's 8 p.m. Eastern, it's going to be 7 a.m. Thai time. Oh, that's a bummer. I got to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning here to watch that. Oh, the sacrifices that I have to make. Gee whiz. I know. Somebody has to do it. And I stepped up and took one for the team. But I'm up for it. I can handle this. Yes, I can do this. I'm a trained professional. Not well trained. Potty trained. That's right. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. I know one other thing, since this is going to be recorded, is that I would encourage any of you who are thinking about, who've started out with vMix and you're like, okay, I know what I need to know. Now I need to know the rest of the show. We are doing another vMix 101 Basics of Live Production class that's starting May 22nd, Eastern Time, whatever time it is. And it'll go for 6 weeks on Tuesdays, like midday-ish, 11 o'clock Central Time, maybe noon Eastern. And I know Cliff has been through it. He's in chat right now. Mark's been through it. He's in chat right now. Ken Benedict just showed up. Hey Ken, glad to have you. So if you're interested in filling in the blanks on what you don't know about vMix, that would be a great way to do it. It's the vMix 101 Basics of Live Production class, 6-week class, taught by yours truly, in person, live, online. So there you go. Cliff says, excellent class. Thank you, Cliff. Check is in the mail. Kyle says, set the alarm clock. Kyle, the challenge is not setting the clock. The challenge is figuring out what time to set the clock for. 7 o'clock this morning, when supposedly, I guess I was supposed to be live, I was pondering great deep thoughts of the world. So there you go. Oh my goodness. Well, Cliff, I tell you what, I sorely missed meeting you at NAB. And I know it's because you weren't there, obviously, but it would have been really, really cool to have met and hung out. So I hope you can make it next year, and if you do, I'll buy you dinner. How about that? Now, that's not an open offer for everybody. It's just Cliff and I have been working together on some things, and it's been good. So Cliff, that was easy. He said, I'll be there next year. Okay, very good. Well, I'll buy you dinner. I'll definitely buy you snacks on Tuesday night for the vMix, not for the vMix, for the Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB. And I think, those of you that are here, let's see, who was there? Ken was there. Kyle was there. Jerome was there. And then others of you may have been watching. Dave was there, if Dave's still here. The place was packed. We were at Scott Whitney's Podwork Studios, live streaming studio, right there in Las Vegas, and we really maxed out his studio, so much so that they have a big storage room in the back, and they had to go clean out the storage room. I mean, they knew they were doing this before we got there, and set up tables and chairs back there so that we had enough space. And I think we maxed them out. It was, I like parties, gatherings like that are really close, where everybody's really tight in there, because you're forced to kind of bump into people and meet them and that kind of thing. And I think that's good. But last year we had 25, 35 people. This year we had 100. If we see that same kind of growth, I don't even want to think about it. I don't want to have I don't want 400 people in Scott Whitney's studio. Let me put it that way. So we're exploring some other options. I've talked with Paul at PTZ Optics they suggested maybe they should rent um, rent a mansion of some type, maybe Wayne Newton's mansion for the week, and they could stay there and then host the party there. I've talked with Scott Whitney about maybe doing a tent out front of his studio in the parking area, kind of rope off the parking area, put a tent up there, have the refreshments out there, and all the kind of group activities out there. But then you have access to the studio for the interview portion, maybe with a remote camera that you know, was in the rafters of the tent that had kind of a group picture on occasion, and do something like that, you know, with the interviews back in the studio portion. So we'll just have to see really what comes out as to how that works. It might work well, it might not work well, just don't know. So if you guys have got some ideas on that one, I would love to hear them. Especially anyone that was there this year and has some feedback on that. So that would be really, really good. So, and it doesn't have to be now. It can be an email. You can pop them into the chat, you know, next week or the week after that. As we, the one nice thing about working with Scott and Nick Nichols is that you know, we worked on this pretty far in advance. It wasn't like the live stream today that kind of got thrown together at the last minute. There was a lot of planning for that event. You know, we tried to have certain things happen certain ways so that you guys would feel welcome and not feel uncomfortable at all, and kind of know what's, you know, there's nothing worse than showing up someplace and you don't know where to go to do what. And so we had the gals there that, you know, gave name tags, and it was kind of funny towards the, I guess about midway through the meetup, they were, when folks would walk up, they would ask them what the password was. That wasn't something I'd ask them to do. And so it almost didn't matter what anybody said. You know, if they said, streaming idiots, yes, that's right, you can go on in. Live streaming, yes, that's right, you can go on in. And so they sort of started everybody off on the right foot with a little funny, and then they got a name tag, and they got a koozie, and all those kinds of things. So I was really pleased that we put that much thought into it. And then Nick and Mark did a stupendous job of taking care of the food arrangements. And they didn't pay for them. They made the arrangements. The sponsors: vMix, PTZ Optics, Bird Dog TV, Magewell, U.S. Broadcast Distribution, Mobile Video Devices, and I picked up the tab for the things that had to be paid for, and then Scott donated the use of his studio, and of course the cleanup from the studio, which I really appreciated that. That was just a Herculean effort on their part, and really appreciated. And the ladies did a good job, says Jerome. That's right, Jerome was there. All right, gents. Well, we're going to wind this up, and we're going to go see if we can find an early lunch here somewhere, since they don't really do breakfast. Getting a little overcast now, so we'll just have to see what happens this afternoon. But golly gee, if we had to sleep in and take a nap, the worst things can happen. So for those of you that have hung in to the very end, I want to give you a coupon for vMix at 150% discount. Not really. But I do appreciate you. So I will see you next week, or something next week. We'll figure that out between now and next week. And after that, 2 weeks from today, we'll be back in the studio in Alabama, and we'll see you then. So take care. Have a great week. Don't forget, tomorrow night, vMix Fun Time Live Show, 8 o'clock Eastern at vmix.com/live. All right, I'm going to let the stream just sort of run out a little bit so that you guys don't get cut off. And I will see you later.